Hey, what's up guys? Zach here, and I'm back working on my lightsaber project. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of work on the hilts for the lightsabers. Well, just one hilt, but you get the idea. I went out today to the hardware store, got a few bits and pieces, also got a couple orders in just recently that had some other bits and pieces. All of it's going to be going on the hilt in various ways, or at least that's the goal. I'm just going to be playing around a little bit, trying some different things out, seeing what I like, what I don't like, and what I want to move forward with on the hilts for these guys. So let's check it out. Alright, so here we go. Check it all out. These are all the little bits and pieces that I've collected so far. Hopefully some of them are going to work. But this is what we're starting with. This is the hilt as it is right now. It's a 12-inch, I believe 12-inch extension pipe for plumbing under a sink, made of PVC. You can see it's fairly thin-walled. This is the 1 1/4 inch size, which I believe is the inside diameter, if I'm not mistaken. I think what I've seen online, a lot of people who are using this type of pipe do the 1 1/2 inch because they're a little bit more standard in shape, and they also come in metal, which I'm sure some people use, but I wanted to go with PVC at least to start out with because it's easier to work with. It's just easier to cut and drill and all that stuff. The reason I got the thinner one, the 1 1/4 inch rather than the 1 1/2 inch, is because this lightsaber is for a female, and her hands are a little smaller. And we tested out both sizes, and she felt like this felt a little bit more comfortable in her grip. So hopefully I can pack everything in there. There's not much room inside there to put all the electronics. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now we're working on the outside, just the looks of the hilt. So let's see. I got all kinds of stuff today, and I'm going to put a few things to the side first. Okay, put those there. This little guy is for these. So this is a tap and die set. I've never actually used one of these, and I hear nothing but scary things that they're pretty tough to get right. Hopefully I can make it work. My biggest problem is that I don't have an electric drill to use it with. I'm going to try my Dremel tool, my rotary tool, and see if it works in there. We'll see. If not, I might have to pick up a drill at some point. But the reason I got it is because I need to drill some threaded holes for these little guys. And I'll take them out of the baggie so you can see them up close. A couple of different screws. So this one doesn't have a head on it, but it has a hex spot inside. This one is the same size screw, but as you can see at the top, it's got this nice thumb screw handle. Both of these will be, well, one of these, I guess I should say, both of them are designed to be a blade retention screw. One of the issues is, of course, we've got a blade, and we've got a hilt. This end just for visual, and it goes down in there. Now, how do you get it to stay inside and not fly back out again? Well, you drill a hole in the side of the blade or something similar, and that goes down through. And when you tighten that screw onto the side of the blade, it's going to hold it in place. That's how blade holders and blade retention screws work. Now, blade holders are pretty expensive if you buy them online. I've looked all around, and like the cheapest one I think I could find was $20 or more. They're made of machine metal. They're just the right size. They're nice pieces of workmanship, but they're expensive. I'm trying to find, to the best of my ability, something that's going to be cheaper, because $20-some just for a blade holder, it's going to knock out a huge chunk of my $50 budget here. So that's part of what I've gotten here, are these pieces of PVC. Let me set the blade aside here. I'm going to put the retention screws and the tap and die set to the side for now. We might try and work with those in a little bit. All these little guys, well, some of these little guys, I guess I should say, I was trying to find pieces that are going to work as a blade holder. And it's surprisingly tough because I need something that's going to fit around this blade, around the outside. The blade is exactly 1 inch from edge to edge, so I need something that's going to be 1 inch inside diameter. But it's really tough to find that. I think a lot of the plumbing supplies I was finding are measured outside diameter, or the inside diameters aren't quite right. But I picked this little guy up because hopefully that inside diameter right there is 1 inch. There's a little smaller ring about halfway down that juts out that will stop the blade. So it goes in like that and can't come through the bottom. The only issue is it's not quite exact. You can see there's a little wiggle. There's some gap there. And that's not good because it needs to be as precise as possible for this blade screw to work. So I'm definitely a little concerned there. We're going to have to play with it and see. The other problem, of course, is that this is a big chunky piece of PVC. It's actually bigger than the hilt itself. It's not going to fit inside of it to stick out either end. What it does do, though, is slip over the outside. So the larger side goes there. The blade goes into the blade holder like so. Both pieces, both sides are not an exact fit. As you can see, they're wiggly. So I'm going to have to try and figure out a way to maybe build up around the inside to thicken it just slightly, or thicken around the outside of the blade. Not 100% sure yet which way I'll go, or if it's going to be practical to do that. Putting this onto this shouldn't be difficult. Yeah, there's wiggle room there, but you know, I can make it even and glue it into place. Definitely not worried about that. These other pieces that I got here are mostly just going to be different end cap pieces. This little guy is the kind of the smallest and most subtle. It's got a little hex end, which is kind of neat looking, although it could definitely be shaved down to a circle. But I got it because it slips right in that side just perfectly. So it's a nice cap to the open end here, one side of the lightsaber. Likewise, these little guys, this one slides inside there. This one is the same, well, almost the same thickness. I got them because if you put the smaller one inside the larger one, then pops in just like so. Makes another kind of a nice option for an end cap. And then the big guy here, well, it doesn't quite look right on that side. I got it to go over the other side just in case I use it. This other side of this extension pipe is a little wider. Can't quite see because of the crappy electrical tape I put on there. Just ignore that. But we've got a threaded end. Now I can always cut that whole end off if I need to, but that fits over fairly nicely over that. It's very chunky though, so I'm not 100% sure. It's a big pommel. I don't know if I like the look of that or not. We're going to have to play around with it and see. Let's see. Other pieces. I picked this up and I just went by the measurement it said on it. I think I got the 1 1/4 size of this little brushed, I don't think it's aluminum, but brushed metal cap, hoping that it would fit inside, and it doesn't. The size is not quite right because I think the inside diameter, well, anyway, I messed up on the sizing. These are cheap though, and they make them different sizes, so I might try and go back and get another one and pop that in, because that's another neat option to seal the end. It fits a little bit better on this side, so you can see fit on that cap. Although if I were going to use something like this, I would probably remove this threaded end. If I were keeping the threaded end, then I would use the big guy, because I think that would look a little bit better. So yeah, those are some different capping options, and like I said, hopefully what will become a blade holder. I looked and looked and looked for something to work for this. This is the best thing I could find so far, so we'll see. Got another little piece here. Now this I got actually from Custom Saber Shop. Put in an order with them for a couple little pieces, and I grabbed one of these, just a little D-ring on a clip, so you can attach that with a screw and have a little clip to hang the saber from your belt. I'm intending these sabers to be basically held the whole time, never really clipped, but you know, it makes it look like it's a practical piece, and if they do want to clip them, then it's going to be a possibility. Alright, what else do we got? A couple little design sort of pieces. I literally walked through the entire hardware store. Well, not the entire one. I didn't go to the lumber section or anything, but you know, most of the hardware store, through the electrical section and the plumbing section, just looking for stuff that I like the look of, that I thought would work on here. So I found these. They're called gripper bars. They were in sort of the home improvement, furniture moving section. So they're sticky backed bits of sort of a grippy foam material. I got them because, well, hopefully, you know what, I'll go ahead and tear one and we'll try sizing. Ooh, I do not tear well. That's okay, they're cheap. Just slap that around there and, oh no, it almost fits. There's a little bit of a gap. I was hoping it would go all the way around, no problem. But a couple of strips of this around in a couple of places might either make a nice, actual, comfortable grip, which, feeling it now with my hand, it does, or they might just make some neat accent pieces. I'm not sure. We'll play around with those as well. Speaking of accent pieces, I thought these were neat as well. Let me pop them out of this container. In the screw section, where they have all the fasteners and stuff, there was a drawer full of little, I forget what the name of the drawer was. It was like craft supplies or something. And it had a bunch of neat things in it. And this is the one that jumped out at me the most. They're little slips of aluminum. These are little, nice and shiny, little tiny thin strips. Got these because, well, you just kind of glue them right in there, or maybe even shave it down and set them down into the handle. Can make some really neat, shiny bits and pieces on there. Might even be able to bend it and wrap it around. Who knows? So, again, some nice little design pieces to fit in there. Let's see, and then I got these little guys. Filler plates from GE and cable hiders. No idea. I don't really know what either of them does, to be honest with you. I didn't get them for their true purpose. I got them because they might make neat design pieces. And the reason I got them, they'll go on the outside of that. They're fairly thin plastic, should be easy to work with. And I got them to make room for this little guy. That switch. Because if well, here, we'll do it this way. You can see there, if you put the switch down into the side of the tube, it's going to be too long. You can see the leads are sticking out. Even if I could get it in there, there's not much room to attach wiring to. So, got these little guys instead to clip on the outside. Oh, goodness gracious. Try that again. Got these little guys to strap on the side to set the button down in so that it will sit kind of up. Well, I can hold it so you guys can see it. Up like that, down into that. So, hopefully, they fit just barely in. I'm worried about the width of the button versus the width of this face. They do make wider pieces of these, but I'm hoping that's going to work. But if not, I grabbed these as well, thinking they might also be useful for something similar. They're just little bits of plastic that clip into some sort of electrical box. Maybe even actually there might be a fuse box to cover up empty spots for fuses. But I was hoping maybe they might make nice accent pieces in some way. Even cutting a hole out and clipping that down in it or something like that. I don't know. The thinner ones would probably work better since this is a pretty narrow, round piece. But we'll see. We'll see how they look in there as well. Alright, so there you go. That's a quick rundown on some of the stuff that I picked up today. You can kind of start to see how it's all going to fit together on this cheap plastic pipe. Doing it on the cheap for sure here. But I think as we add these bits of trim on, imagine there's a lit button inside there. Well, and imagine it doesn't completely fall to pieces every time you move it. I think it's going to start looking more and more like a lightsaber as we attach all these pieces to it. The main problem right now, of course, is that I need an electric drill to drill and tap the hole here for our little retention screws. Also, I'm a little concerned since the screw there is not all that long and that wall of that PVC is fairly thick. I think it might have just enough space to get over there and hit the blade. If not, we do have the one with the Allen head that we can sink a little bit deeper in there. So one way or another, should be at least a good start. Like I said, the other concern is going to be getting rid of that little tiny gap there between the blade and the edge of the blade holder. I think we might be able to wrap the base of the blade with something to make up that difference. The other concern there is that that section the blade sits in is only, say, an inch deep. That's not a huge amount of strength. Ideally, you'd want the blade to go into the holder maybe inch and a half to 2.5 inches. The more distance you get inside that holder, The more rigid the blade's going to be in there, the more secure it's going to be. That being said, again, these blades are not designed for combat, so I don't need them to be ultra robust. I really just need it to stay in there. So we'll check that out as well. But thanks for joining me, looking over some bits and pieces. The next step is going to be working a little bit more on the electronics and finalizing some of that stuff so that I can get an idea of how it's all going to fit in here. Of course, I need to finish that and get things fitted inside before I really start plugging up the gaps, as it were. But yeah, we'll see where we go from here, and stay tuned. Next time we're going to be talking a little bit more about lighting systems.